On this week's boiler tip, we're going to talk about feed water temperatures and its role in causing or helping prevent thermal stresses on the boiler. If we've got a boiler that's operating at its full pressure and we add cold water to the boiler, it's fairly obvious that we're going to cause localized metal to contract where the cold water is going in, and that's going to cause thermal stress on the boiler. That's one reason that we preheat our feed water. But if we've got a cold boiler, what's the implications of putting hot feed water in it? Basically, instead of contracting areas of the boiler, we could be expanding parts of the boiler where other parts remain cooler. So, couple things. When we're warming up a boiler, we should make sure there's enough water in the boiler that we can attain steaming on the boiler, preferably before we start adding more feed water. Because if we're bringing the system up cold, our deaerator or feed tank could be at ambient temperature and us have steam on the boiler. So a couple things we can do to help with that is use a bypass. So if I've got a pressure reducing valve feeding steam to this deaerator, it may not open until I have steam on the system if it's a steam pressure operated valve. So if I open a bypass around that valve, I can get heat into my feed system sooner and prevent thermal shock. If I've got a boiler that's cold, but I'm filling it with a hot feed tank, I want to do so very slowly. So I don't want to just kick the pump on switch and rip that water into the boiler. First, this tank may be feeding other boilers, and a boiler with no pressure on it, no back pressure specifically, will take most of the water out of this tank and potentially starve other boilers while thermally shocking that boiler. So it'd be a lot better to very slowly fill that boiler. Use a manual valve, crack the feed water valve, and put water in very slowly to warm it up gradually. Or we could actually fill it with cold water directly from the softener so we're not interfering with the system. Basically, we don't want hot water going into a cold boiler. We don't want cold water going into a hot boiler. Both things to keep in mind when we're starting up a system.